Okay, good day ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to look at creating a simple jump animation. What we're going to do is take these shapes on my artboard here and simulate them into a jump. So I've dropped some very stylized shapes onto this, where we've got a circle for hips, and then I've got a rectangle for the thighs, and then a circle for the knees, then a rectangle for your calf bone, another circle for your ankle, and then finally a rectangle for your foot. Okay, now let me show you the first problem. When I click on the hips here and I move the hips around, only the hips are moving, and what we want is for everything to be connected, and the way that we connect it is by clicking on the bone that we want to connect, so the thigh bone here, and I just want to drag and drop so the thigh is over the hips. And now you can see that when I open up hips, below it we have the thigh, and if I click on the hips, it's going to move the thigh bone around as well relative to it. And in fact, if I rotate, the thigh bone rotates too. So I'm going to do that with the knee. Okay, so the knee is going to be a child of the thigh, and then the calf, you have to remember to open up the object that you've just made a child. So the calf is then going to become a child of the knee. Then there's the calf, and then the ankle, and then finally the foot. So now when I move the object's hips, everything moves in relation to it. Okay, so that's my animation setup. The next stage now is to actually animate it. Okay, so we're going to start animating the jump, and before we start animating the jump, the first thing we can do is just test that all of our shapes are properly connected, and we'll just click on the hips, and I'm just going to drag the hips up and make sure that all of the other shapes behind me move, and they do. And if I rotate them, they all rotate as well. Cool. Right, that means we're ready to go. So I'm going to click on the animate. I'm just going to move my artboard up and scroll it in so we can see it. Right, okay. I'm going to make sure I got auto key clicked so that every time I change something, it's going to automatically generate a keyframe. I'm going to just close that bit off a little bit so we can see what's happening. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my legs crouch. So what I'm going to do is crouch by clicking on the hips, rotating it forward, then I'm going to click on my knee, rotate it back, click on the ankle, rotate it flat like that, and then click back on my hips. And what you can see now is that the axes have moved because I've rotated my hips around. So what I'm going to do is click on this button here, and where it says show axis, I'm going to make them aligned to the world so that they're going up and down. And then I'm just going to move my Okay, so first thing we're going to do is to make him crouch. So I'm going to make sure I've got auto key clicked. Then I'm going to move my timeline forward. At the moment, my whole animation is lasting for 10 seconds, and that's a bit long. So I'm just going to make it last for 3 seconds so that we can see everything. In fact, even 3 seconds is a bit long. Let's just make it last for 1 second. Quick jump. Okay. So at around 20 frames, by the time we've got to 20 frames, I want my legs to be rolled forward, my knee to be rolled back, my foot to be rolled forward like that. Then I'm going to click back onto the hips. And you might find that your hips, because you've rotated them, the alignment of the arrows looks like that. That's because they're aligned to the way that the hips are directed. So all you've got to do is click on Show, Axis, and then click on the world so that they point up and down. And now you can just use these to push down to there. Okay, so that's my first set of keyframes arranged. And then I want the next set of keyframes, which would be around about by there. Okay, so I've make sure I've got auto key clicked. I'm going to move it up, and as soon as I move it up, I can see that my keyframe has been generated. Then I'm going to click on the hips, rotate it round, click on the knee, and I just want it to kind of jump. For my jump, I just want him to be kind of not a totally straight leg, still slightly bent, but the foot is going to come down just like that. Okay, so now let's just see how this goes. I run through it. It's coming down, compressed, up in the air, and then what I'm going to do is move this forward, move the timer forward by about there, click on the very top keyframe, and then press either Control C or Command C, depending on a Mac or Windows, and then either Control C or Command V, and then that pastes this set of keyframes back here. And then if I move it forward, move the timeline forward again, and copy the first set of keyframes, so again Control C and then Control V, that gives me the first set of keyframes again. So now when I press jump, I'm going to get this really cool little animation, and I can play with the timing. So for instance, if I want he's coming down here like that, maybe I want to hold that position for a little bit, so I'm going to click on the top keyframe, press Control C to copy it, press Control V to paste. So now comes down, holds that position, and then springs up, and then starts coming back down again to the crouch, and then stands back up. Okay, so it's not ideal. There's a little few rough edges, but you can see how we can create quite a nice little animation there for a jump. All right, so your task is to create a jump. If you want to feel a little bit adventurous, add a body with some arms and see what you can do from there as well. Maybe his arms can go up in the air as you jump. Okay, as always, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're going to produce, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.